Clean up on aisle 5. Clean up on aisle 5. Thanks for listening to The Professional Edge. My name's Sean Todd, tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. We're cleaning up on aisle 5. So something's happened and we need to fix it. Well, let's look at your entity status. So individuals, you can form an entity online. You just Google it and say form corporation or form LLC, limited liability company. Well, you can follow the guidance within the web, but is that really going to pass muster when the Internal Revenue Service or worse yet, an attorney files suit against your LLC, and let's call it a sandwich shop, and you formed Sandwich Shop LLC, and you did it online, and you didn't want to pay the cost of a lawyer to help you do that. So I'm going to say you got a bad package of meat. You purveyed that in your sandwich store. Person got sick, and they have some medical bills, and they trace it back to the Sandwich Shop LLC that you own. And lo and behold, now you're facing being a defendant in a lawsuit. So clean up on aisle 5. What do we need to do? Well, what we need to do is not get in this situation in the first place. Let's go ahead and utilize the services of a lawyer and make sure that our personal assets are not exposed to the claims of creditors. So if we form an entity legally and it is established properly, then we have limited liability. So therefore, our $10,000 capital contribution to the Sandwich Shop LLC is the only thing in which we have exposure for. So again, we want to limit our personal liability. Well, because we did it online, there's no guarantee. There is no errors and omissions insurance for that online company, and we may not have formed it properly. So we have the articles of organization for an LLC, and then we have members within that LLC. And my question to you is, have you ever issued your LLC membership certificates away from the LLC itself? A lot of clients will come into the office, thank goodness, before the lawsuit's filed, and they say, hey, I formed this corporation. It's the Sandwich Shop LLC, and did I do it right? I look at it and I say, oh, yeah, you did it right, right according to what the web says. And they say, what do you mean? And I say, well, we have a cleanup on aisle 5. Things are not copacetic. Meaning, you have your articles of organization. That's number 1. Number 2, do you have a business license? I didn't know I needed that. The World Wide Web never told me that. Number 3, on this LLC, who's the members? Well, it's just me. Okay. Are you going to file a separate tax return for it? Well, maybe. All right. With a single member LLC, that is a disregarded entity in the eyes of the Internal Revenue Service, and therefore it goes on Schedule C. So that net income on Schedule C goes on Schedule SE, which is your self-employment tax contribution calculation. But then you would get a 1/2 adjustment for that for your adjusted gross income. So, probably you are not understanding the tax consequence of your LLC. So it's clean up on aisle 5, clean up on aisle 5. So therefore, what kind of entity do you actually have? Well, I was thinking about putting my spouse on here as 50-50. Okay, if they're on there for 50-50, then we can't be a disregarded entity for tax purposes. So are you a partnership? Are you an S Corp? Or are you a C-Class Corp with this LLC that you formed online? Because it does matter. On this 2-person or 2-member LLC, we could be taxed as a partnership. So therefore, we would do a partnership election, and we would file Form 1065, which is an information return. And then out would come K1s for the tax attributes of this LLC being taxed as a partnership. Okay, that's great. There's some pros and cons to that. Or what we could do is a unanimous election on Form 2553, and that allows the LLC to be taxed as an S-class corporation. And again, an 1120S would have to be filed, and each one of the shareholders, shareholder members, would now get a K1 statement and therefore remit the tax due on that taxable income. Clean up on aisle 5. Clean up on aisle 5. What does that mean? Well, if the entity has some income, let's say $20,000, and there's 2 members, and at the end of the year, the decision is made to hold that $20,000 because we don't know what's going to be needed for the upcoming year. Well, the K1 is actually going to show profit, taxable profit that needs to be claimed on Schedule E for this LLC being taxed as an S-class corporation. Now, if this is far confusing, that's the reason why you need to probably give my office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798, to make sure that we're not hearing or having to put on the intercom, clean up on aisle 5, clean up on aisle 5. So there's not a mess when it comes tax time. So that 2553 election needs to be filed in a timely manner so you qualify and the Internal Revenue Service actually accepts your S election. They will receive this little envelope in the mail from them, and it says, yes, we have accepted your S election effective whatever date that they assign or what you apply for. So that allows you to do some additional tax planning for that 1120S LLC, treated as an S-class corporation. So we can pay ourselves some normal wages and then also have some profit distribution. Yes, it is tax planning 101. So we just got to make sure that we are doing things in the right manner, and therefore we're not cleaning up aisle 5. So again, worth the conversation, worth the time to get things done in the proper order now before you are a defendant in a lawsuit. So again, to schedule that consultation, it's 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. Now, if you're a listener here on the Professional Edge and you own that rental property, ask yourself, is it properly structured? Well, I've seen a lot of clients come in and they said, yep, I formed my LLC on the internet. Right here it is. It's 123 Main Street LLC. And I got my rental property in there. And that's the way I've been filed. I read or I listened to some podcast, not the Professional Edge podcast, but some other, fly-by-night podcast, and individuals said all your rental property needs to be held by an LLC, and you can do it yourself on the Secretary of State's website. Just file it, and then you have your rental property within that LLC. Okay, that's great. So here's what I see. There's cleanup on aisle 5. Cleanup on aisle 5. And what do I mean by that? Well, they have formed this LLC. They properly did that with the Secretary of State. Kudos to that. They applied for a separate tax ID number. Perfect. Okay, gotcha. But they've never issued the membership certificates away from the LLC itself. Okay, so if you're listening, you haven't done that, probably need to give me a call. There's number 1, clean up on aisle 5. And then number 2, when they did this entity, they never did anything with the deed. Well, that deed needs to be transferred into the name of the LLC, so therefore the LLC becomes the legal entity holder of that real property, and therefore that will be the capital contribution to the LLC. So it is effectively placed and legal title is held by the LLC, so therefore the LLC can be represented, or actually, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be actually legally acknowledged because we did everything right. So therefore, our personal home, I got tongue-tied there. I don't know why, but I apologize. So the entity can be actually legally recognized, and therefore your personal residence, your other assets are going to be protected from the claims of that potential creditor. So if you're a listener here on the Professional Edge and you have that rental condo down in Florida, on Orange Beach, somewhere down along the Panhandle, and you do not have your rental property, that condo, in an LLC, a properly formed LLC, that right there is the impetus to give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. My name's Sean Todd, tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner, and actually one you might not know of, an adjunct professor at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! So stay tuned. We have more coming up here on the Professional Edge.
With today's financial markets, are you getting the personal and professional attention you and your money deserve? Clients of estate management counselors benefit from having one set of professionals advise them on their tax, estate planning, and investment advice. We call that the Professional Edge. Sean Todd is a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. With over 15 years' experience, he welcomes the opportunity to assist you in preparing for retirement, implement effective tax planning strategies, and to help you properly plan your estate. His radio show, The Professional Edge, is aired weekly on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you're interested in meeting with Sean, call his office at 877-654-9798. That's 877-654-9798. Do you want to feel more confident about making the right investment, tax, and estate planning decisions? Today, these decisions are more complex than ever. Have you thought about working with a professional advisor and not sure who to turn to? Not sure what qualifies one to be an advisor? Sean Todd is more than qualified as a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. Sean is with Estate Management Counselors. Estate Management Counselors operates as an independent fee-only investment advisory firm. They're dedicated to gaining a personal understanding of their clients' objectives and implementing professional counsel and advice to achieve those objectives. So take a second to talk with Sean Todd to learn how you can benefit from their multidisciplinary practice where they coordinate their clients' legal, tax, and investment strategies into one comprehensive and integrated plan to enhance and protect their clients' financial security. You can reach Estate Management Counselors and speak with Sean Todd by calling 1-877-654-9798. That's 1-877-654-9798.